Call the El Reno Air Park regular meeting on Tuesday, May 8th, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. We'll start with roll call, starting with Trustee Ryder.
Here. Trustee White.
Here.
Vice Chairman Ballhorn. Trustee Cronister.
Here.
Chairman Robinson.
Here. We'll move on to consent agenda. The following items are to be considered routine by the El Reno Air Park Authority and will be enacted with one motion should the discussion be desired on any item. That item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number one is approval of the minutes of the April 10th, 2018 regular meeting of the El Reno Air Park Authority. And number two is approval of resolution number 18-029, a resolution applying for and accepting the grant offer from the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, for the rehabilitation of the apron and construction of the new fuel farm, project number 3-40-006-013-2018 for the El Reno Regional Air Park.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Cronister, second by Matt.
Cronister.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Ballhorn. Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder. Yes. Chairman Robinson.
Yes. We'll move on to discussion items. Discussion, consideration, possible action to accept a bid from Swartz Paving to mill, stabilize, and overlay selected streets and parking at the El Reno Regional Airport.
Mr. Chairman, this was basically, we're under budget on all the projects that we've done, and we'll make sure it comes out of the proper fund, but this was on the original, where's COBAT? This was on the original list. We wanted to make sure we had enough money, so we're asking some more funds to see, but we still think it'll be way under budget, but want to continue on just to bring it for you because it was just to make sure you know what's going on.
Sounds good. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion from Cronister, second from, need a second? Second from Ryder.
Trustee Cronister.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Ballhorn. Trustee White.
Abstain?
Trustee Ryder. Yes. Chairman Robinson.
Yes. We'll move on to E, which is adjournment.
Motion?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Who's recreational?
That will be
Bob.
Tracy tonight.
Oh, Tracy?
Yeah, Tracy.
You got,
We
Call
have
the meeting of the El Reno Recreational Authority to order Tuesday, May 8th, 2018 at 5:30, whatever it is. 2, thank you. Roll call, we'll start with Trustee Robinson.
here?
Trustee White.
Here.
Trustee Cronister.
Here.
Vice Chairman Ryder.
Here. The following items are considered to be routine by the El Reno Recreational Authority and will be enacted with one motion. Should discussion be desired on any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Approval of the April 10th, 2018 regular meeting of the El Reno Recreational Authority and approval of budget amendments for the fiscal year 2017-2018 ending June 30, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Trustee Cronister.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Chairman Ballhorn. Vice Chairman Ryder.
Yes. Okay, need a movement to adjourn?
Make a motion?
To adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now 5:34, I now call the El Reno Hospital Authority regular meeting of Tuesday, the May the 8th to order. Roll call, start with Trustee Cronister.
Here.
Trustee Ballhorn. Trustee Robinson.
Yeah.
Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. Move on to consent agenda. Consent agenda, final items being considered routine by the El Reno Hospital Authority and being acted with one motion. Should that discussion be desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number one, approval of minutes, April the 10th, 2018, regular meeting of the City of El Reno Hospital Authority. Number two, approval of claims requiring trustee authorization for the period beginning April 1st, 2018 and ending April the 30th, 2018.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve, 1 and 2.
Second.
I have a second by Cronister. Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn. Vice Chairman Cronister.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Robinson, second by Cronister. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. It's now 5:35. I now call the Irving Municipal Authority Tuesday, May the 8th, 2018 to order. We'll start with roll call, starting with Trustee Ryder.
Here. Trustee Robinson.
Here.
Trustee Ballhorn. Vice Chairman Cronster.
Here.
Chairman White.
Yes. We'll go on to the consent agenda. Or is there any deletions or new business at the time? Continuances? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The following items will be considered routine by the Elbert Municipal Authority and will be enacted with one motion. Should discussion be on desire on that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number one, approval of minutes of the April the 10th, 2018 regular meeting of El Reno Municipal Authority. Number two, approval of budget amendments for the fiscal year 2017 to 18 ending June 30th, 2018. Number three, approval of claims requiring trustee authorization for the period beginning April the 1st, 2018 and ending April 30th, 2018.
Motion we approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn. Vice Chairman Cronster.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. Move on to 4. Discussion items. Discussion consideration possible action to award project number F03 wastewater treatment plant improvements. CWSRF project number ORF 13-003-CWA known as monitoring station to have the mayor sign all documents associated therefore. Mr. Koba, basically this is to finish up a project at the wastewater lagoon. Is that correct? We've talked to Satish on this today. This will help us accomplish what we need to do as far as monitoring all of the wastewater stuff that we're getting off the oil field services and also the honey wagons, I call them. Is that correct? Anybody want to know what the honey wagon is, Tracy?
Go ahead.
No. Good. All right. Any other questions? Do I have a motion for approval?
You do?
Two and four.
Yeah, it's to
Oh, sorry.
MT Septic and
Yep.
backhoe in the amount of $170,318.
Thank you, Timmy. Stay on top of that. All right. Is that a motion by
Second.
Robinson, second by Cronister? Roll call vote start with Cronister.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn. Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. Number 5, discussion consideration possible action to accept completed project I-11 water sanitary sewer improvements on Radio Road and approve and activate the maintenance bond. Mr. Cover, this bond was for the water and sewer down to Brenda Tag, is that correct? And then we have the money, Marcia, in the escrow account, and All Roads Paving has the contract, is that correct? And then I think the latest update, they're gonna start on that next week, is that correct? That's what I got for that, then they're gonna start that process. And I think we're working with other contractors, maybe, hopefully as the other land develops as it comes up. I think they're coming through the process. Mr. Sandage, where are you at? That we're gonna go forward with that, is that correct? Okay, any other questions?
Make a motion we approve.
Make my motion we approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor, or I'm sorry, roll call vote start with Cronister.
Aye.
Trustee Ballhorn. Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder. Chairman White.
Yes. Number 6, discussion consideration possible action to approve and accept bid from Schwartz Paving to mill and stabilize overlay selected streets within the parking within the city of El Reno limits. Basically, Jeff, this was to complete the roads that were on there, I think out by Alice Travis Drive. They're gonna do all of Alice, all of Travis. We have some left over. I think, Tracy, we did the parking lot already downtown because we had money left over from the, for the parking lot downtown. I couldn't think about it. Yeah, Anheuser-Busch parking. I couldn't remember what we called it, Anheuser-Busch parking lot. So, really it's Pabst parking lot, isn't it, Roger? So anyway, we're just trying to go ahead and extend those out on the ones that you've asked for. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Okay.
Make a motion we approve.
You got a motion we approve? Second, roll call vote start with Ryder.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn. Vice Chairman Cronster.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Abstain. Move on to 7, discussion consideration possible action project number I-44 sanitary sewer serve Crossroad Post Development. Had the mayor sign all documents associated there too. Okay, basically, Jeff, there was some changes basically on the sewer deal that Dan, we talked about, we negotiated, we went out to bid. The low bid, Timmy looked that up.
Miller, doing business as J&C. in the amount of $41,340.
And basically, what we're doing is we're doing a sewer line, force main, that ties on to our main across 66, and that's including them boring and everything else. Is that correct? And what we'll do is we'll ask you to approve this contract. We will pay for it, but we have a note, Marcia, that Mr. Paul King signed as the operator, one of the managing partners of Crossroad Points, and they will reimburse us for all cost. Is that correct? Roger, you've seen the document?
I have not,
Here you go.
other than what's here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay, oh, that's the same
I
way.
haven't seen
Okay, I thought you did. Okay, I want to make sure.
I thought it was separate.
No, that's it, same document. Make me a little nervous. I thought, well, I didn't know about that. Someone's head's gonna roll on that deal.
I have seen that.
Okay, good enough. All right. Any questions? Timmy, you made the motion?
I'd like, make the motion to Miller doing business as J&C in the amount of $41,340.
Okay, yep. Second, roll call vote, start Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn. Vice Chairman Cronister.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. Number 8, discussion and consideration, possible action to approve contract for water and water services with Union City. Basically, Jeff and I kind of dug into this a little bit. The main thing is that we wanted to kind of see where we were. Union City's been doing a lot more changes than what they currently have with our other contract when we upgraded them. They've been selling a lot of bulk water. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to kind of redo the contract. Roger, you have been working through it. Is that correct? Okay, all right. Along with Mr. Galloway, I made sure he did it. And of course, Mr. Staines been kind of spearheading it with Cobb and I looking over. Basically, wanted to make sure that this covered all the basically what they're doing down there. We have a certain rate that we charge them for their usage of their community, for their residential use, which we have no problem with, but we need to raise our ability on the other side of that for the bulk water, so when they're selling that, we're making the same amount of money here that we are for us. Does that make sense? And then what we're gonna do is currently keep them the way they are, and then we'll revisit this next year when we come back up for contract time and, and look at the different deal. It's the same contract, the same amount that we're charging Houston and the other people that we service. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Motion to approve
Got a
contract.
motion approved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, roll call vote starts with Ryder.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn. Vice Chairman Cronister.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. Motion for adjournment? Prayer maybe.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. All right. It's now 5:43. I now call the El Reno City Council regular meeting of Tuesday, May the 8th, 2018 to order. Do we have a representative from the Ministerial Alliance here tonight? All right, if not, Roger, would you mind leading us in a word of prayer?
Be honored to do that. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful spring day, for the ability to gather here to be about the business of this community. We thank you for the men and women who serve this community, either through elected positions or as volunteers or employees. We also thank you for the men and women who are present tonight to be a part of democracy. We ask your blessings on our community and our state and our country. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. New businesses, solutions to conveniences at a time. Buddy, the airport meeting's already over with. Lindsay, is that when we're going to do this now? Is that what you want to do? Let's do it now. Before we do this, I can add anything I want to the agenda on this as far as, presentations, everything else. I want to recognize somebody, and I want to thank them, take a little time out. We have this beautiful plaque here, and I want to represent, or I want to hand this to Dan Galloway. For he acted as our city manager the last couple of years. Appreciation for the outstanding service from 2016 to 2018. So I want to give that to you, and I want to say a couple of words.
Thank you all very much. It's my pleasure and honor to be here in El Reno, great people in El Reno, great city council, great city staff. It's been a lot of fun. I hope we've made some accomplishments. I want to say thank you to everyone. And I told other people, I wish I'd have been here a little bit earlier in my career. Not that old, I'm 73, when I walked. So I'm retiring, but it's been a fun time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we want to say something too, and I think we've talked about it, and I know I speak exactly for the city council and absolutely with the city staff. You came to us a couple of years ago. We were in our growing stage, and we could not have done it without you. You have absolutely been the steady Eddie captain that's helped us get accomplished what we have. I can't imagine, and the ladies were telling me today, and Jeff, and I think Kent, none of us, we've all learned something from you. And that's what's kind of neat about this whole deal is that, you know, we were a little nervous with having Mr. Rivera here for so many years, and we were so comfortable. And then we went through some changes a little bit with some different people, but it wasn't anything bad. It just was growing. But you really, I mean, you're family to us. You're a friend of ours. We just really care about you. I've known you for a long time, and we've been friends a long time, and you're just somebody that I'm never going to forget. And I've learned so much from you, just basically with your leadership and your style and your class. And you're just a class act, Dan Galloway. And I think you're going to. Like you said, I wish we absolutely would have had you earlier, because I think we would have done even more, accomplished what we have. But this community would not be where it is without you. So we really, and don't you all agree? I mean, I think that we just really, you have really been a filler in this deal that just have bridged over everything for us. And we just can't thank you enough. And I'll buy you a drink later, so I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we'll move on. All right. City manager recommends we approve one motion. That approval of minutes, April the 10th, 2018, regular meeting of the El Reno City Council. Number 2, approval resolution, number 18-029, a resolution applying for accepting a grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation, FAA, the rehabilitation apron, construction of a new fuel farm, project number 3-40-0026-013-2018 from the El Reno Regional Air Park. Number 3, approval of relief from section 361 to 22, the Code of Ordinances for the City of El Reno for RKK Productions for Wild's A1 well field on the basis of restrictive ability for electrical power. Number 4, of knowledge of donation from the El Reno Fire Department from Devon Energy Corporation, the amount of $2,000. Number 5, to acknowledge donation to the El Reno Parks Department from Mr. Hank Moore for the Christmas wreaths, equivalent to the amount of $7,900. Number 6, approval to enter in local agreement with the Kane County for the purchase of mutual cooperation in hauling aggregate materials, rock, for materials vendors at the City of El Reno's lake areas. And number 7, approval of resolution 18-030, a resolution City Council for the City Council establishing 911 emergency telephone fee rate for calendar year of 2019. Number 8, approval of budget amendments for the fiscal year 2017 to 2018, ending June 30th, 2018. Number 9, approval of claims requiring council authorization for the period beginning April the 1st, 2018 and ending April 30th, 2018. Do we have a motion for approval? Or anybody want to pull anything?
Motion approved.
Got a motion? Second. I got a second. Roll call vote. Start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. E, audience participation. Anyone have an item of business to present to the city council that does not appear on the agenda, please come up to the podium and state your name. You are requested to limit your presentation to 3 minutes. Any item being presented must pertain to the City of El Reno business. Anyone? Anyone? Yes, sir. Well, like I told you, and I don't mind. I'm pretty good. But I'll let you go up here. But the bottom line is, you come on up, Mr. Smith. I'll make it short and sweet because I sure don't want to cut anybody off. I want to make sure everybody has ample opportunity. Mr. Smith, you contacted me today and asked me if we could talk about the pool at Redlands Community College. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I told you it wasn't on the agenda. It really didn't pertain to the City of El Reno business. And it's really, I just want to let you know that we have worked with Redlands in the past and tried to do some partnerships, and we have done that. And I think it's a decision based on Redlands. I don't want Redlands telling me how to run our fire department or police department or anything else, and I sure don't want to tell them how to do their business on that particular thing out there. Now, there's other things I might want to, but not on that one. but not on that one. So I don't want to get into pool business, but I appreciate you coming up, and I just don't feel like it's valid to take any more time, but I appreciate your efforts, and
I
thank you.
understand that. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
I think Dr. Bryant called you reserved the right to.
Dr. Bryant knows. Him and I got an outstanding deal. We can do that, and we're still friends after, aren't we, Jack? That's right. Thank you. Thank you all. So, Jack, now does this pertain to the City of El Reno business? Okay, all right.
I want to thank the city council
Okay.
and the city for what they did to help us keep the pool open through the partnership that we had last year. And I understand that it was not built into the budget this year, but we want to thank the city. The board asked me to come and thank you tonight for what you've done for us.
Jack,
So
thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, anybody else? All right. We'll go on to F. Discussion items. To hold a public hearing regarding proposed annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2018 and ending July 30th, 2019. I now consider this public hearing open to discuss the budget for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018 to end June 30th, 2019. Little side note, Mr. Galloway, this is one of his tasks that we asked him to finalize before he leaves. And with his help and city staff and a lot of people, we kind of got in there and we got a good budget. And I think we can kind of go over it briefly and kind of tell you, Dan, kind of where we're at. There's a letter in there too, state. So, Dan, go ahead.
I just tried to end it in a high spot. I think a lot of people have heard we've been very fortunate this current year with some significant increases in our sales tax revenue. Sales tax revenue is sometimes overstated. It's one part of the city's total revenue. It's not the only revenue. It also depends on sale of water and sewer bills and those things. So we have some minor fees that we charge. The sales tax is usually an indicator of growth in the city. We've got a lot of growth here. So our sales tax collection is an all-time record for the year. And we hit a record month for collection over $2 million. Now that's good news, but as I say in the letter and I say to the staff all the time, it's time to be excited and thankful for that, but it's also a time to be extremely cautious. Because when you look at the statistics of the state tax collection of taxes, a huge amount of that is not surprising, just the sales, supplies, and materials to the oil field. The oil field industry has lived up for very long. There's no growth. Sometimes it's in a year, sometimes it's in 10 years. We'll never know that. But when that slows down someday, those taxes income will come down a little bit. You always be prepared for that. Good news is we're seeing a lot of large increases for other retail business, from shopping, from hotels, and the other businesses in our community that have some impact in the oil business, but not totally. So Reno is just starting a huge growth period, a lot of residential development, which is a good sign, a growing population. So I felt a little more comfortable going into the budget this year. We had a good beginning, I think a good beginning balance to work with. But again, it's time to be conservative. You can't base the full year on what we saw happen in the other 2 months. So I recommended a budget that does cover all of our operating expenses to the same level we've been operating, our police and fire and parks and all of our other facilities. And because about a couple of years ago, we weren't able to give employees a cost of living raise. We were able to give them one in the middle of this last year, 3%. We're still kind of behind that cost of living curve. So to kind of catch up, I'm recommending a total budget of 2% cost of living across the board for all employees. Kind of catches it up from what we weren't able to do a couple of years ago. So we're pretty much back on track with the conditions we can all live with. We then had a significant balance projected for the beginning of this year. And one of my primary objectives had to do with something we don't see a lot about, and that's our emergency reserve fund, something like called the rainy day fund. But a city should maintain a fund so that you have some available resources in case of unforeseen disaster. And El Reno's seen its share. We had the city had a fund when we had the tornado hit, and it was fortunate to have that. We got some assistance, but over the years we've moved it back up a little bit. Then we had to deal with the ice storm, and we're talking about millions of dollars. In 2016, 2 years ago, we were down to a balance in that fund of about $6,000. It should be at least $3 million, in my opinion, for a city this size, $3 million plus. We were able to save a little, and we built that up to about $1 million in that fund. But we now have the ability, without impacting any of our services, to put a couple million back into that emergency reserve. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, we might have another disaster, which God hope we don't, but it's there if we do. The other thing is, I said we had a record tax collection month of $2 million. It's a record for us. Mark and Karen, Mayor White, and I, we've discussed this. We have seen times when 6 months, year down the road, tax commission comes along and says, oh, by the way, we made a mistake last year in that month and we gave you $1 million too much money. That happens. We had a record month and we can't really explain why all of a sudden it was double than it normally was. The account is red. It's happening. If, worst case scenario, if that happens, this emergency reserve can also help recover that. So it gives us some protection, so I'm recommending that $2 million. Now, we all know that the city is also behind in some road projects, street projects, some water line projects, sewer line projects, and on and on. And there are many of those to do. With this ending balance that we had, after making sure we got the operational funds in place, I'm recommending inserting close to $3 million in streets, parks, water lines, sewer lines, all those places where there's some potential need. We have not developed a specific list of projects, because there are many to choose from, and I think the council needs some time to look at our options, to talk to the public and see what those are. And my recommendation is to place those funds in those departments as shown in this budget. And I'm recommending that it be restricted, that those funds can't be just spent by the staff. Those have to be presented to the council as projects and give the opportunity for the council to talk to citizens and make sure it's the most important project we want to do. Coming back to this council, the council says, okay, out of that $1.6 million we've got in the street department, you can use $200,000 for this project, because you presented the right one. That gives us some protection that we do the right projects, that people have some input into it, and we don't overspend. Just because that money's sitting there in the budget doesn't mean you have to spend it. In this council, I think, the acting city manager and future city managers, department heads can manage that to see the most product projects for the public possibly do. We're also seeing some real impact on some of our departments and growth. It's amazing the number of increase in police calls and fire calls, and the number of, a lot of increased service. We didn't add very many positions, but we did feel it's time to add 2 police very difficult to keep up with the mayors. The other department, community development, along with plan review and building inspections, we have in 4 months, we've had triple the number of building permits we normally have in a whole year. And we have half-time building inspection, and a few staff, full-time staff people. We really need to look at adding a building plan review and inspection to keep up with the pace of building. So those are kind of the highlights and an overview. I think it's a solid budget. It has some precautions in it, set some money aside for unforeseen things, and it gives council and staff the ability to work with the public and look at the most needed projects in various areas that the city can provide projects and use that to go into. That's what I recommend.
Any questions? I appreciate the city staff and Mr. Galloway. All of us were involved in the process. A lot of these things have been discussions that we want to do over the series of years. We've made some, just to touch on what's on dance, we have made some headways as far as we have raised some of our fee permit schedules. The council has done that. We're looking at that. What we did tonight on Union City, we're going to start continuing to look at those deals. And the bottom line is that we're running this thing really smooth. The staff has been absolutely, the department heads have been absolutely wonderful about helping us work through the projects and the process. And we feel like this budget that Dan's presented, and the one we've all kind of helped a little bit with, gives us, Dan, I think, what we've talked about over the last couple of years, the council more control, Tracy, where it's the concerns of having money in the reserve, which is what we want to get built back up. And to realize the reason why it was that low, I want to make sure, is because we had carrying a hell of a storm we had to go through, and some bills, Kent, that we had to go when we had our tornado, that we were standing, hundreds of thousands of dollars of POs I was signing immediately right off the day one. Is that right, Kent? I mean, just unbelievable. So it'll help us because you never know when that tornado could ever happen again. It gives us the ability, like Dan said, which I like. It doesn't just build it where the staff has the deal where they can go out and just kind of buy a bunch of tools. I'm saying it kind of loosely like this, and all of a sudden you wonder where all the money went. We're saving this money, the other money that we have for special projects that the people of this community want to do. And we still have projects that we're doing right now, whether it be the improvements at the lake, Kendall, that you and Chief Legali are working with, and it's a dog park coming, and some of the little stuff that we've all wanted to do and sewed up some of the other street and roads that we've had bid out for a year, and doing the first mile of Britain, the first mile of Foreman, and we want to continue that on to finish that out, to complete that 3-mile, 4-mile circuit. So these are all processes that basically have already been put in place, but that'll help us continue those projects and add on to more and more.
So when will the cost of living raise go into effect for the employees?
July 1st.
July 1. And what about my understanding, there's $1 million in reserve now, and you want to add 2 to make it 3?
Yes, this budget includes that.
Right, and will that be a one-time deposit into that, or will it be over a period of time?
I talked to Ms. Leck about that, and I think that we'll do that throughout the year, and as long as the revenues stay as we projected. If for some reason the revenues start falling more than we expected, that's kind of an emergency in itself. We may have to reduce those payments into that fund in order to keep everything in operation. But that, I don't think it'll get that bad, but it's always an option. So we don't want to put all the money in up front.
But I do also want to state, Ms. Ryder, that we have money in other funds. The other things are flush enough to where we could sustain that if we had to sustain that. Years in the past, the airport authority had no money. The airport money they have some money now. Now the hospital, because we're going through the process of building the hospital, doesn't have as much. But we do have other funds that we can sustain that. Is that correct, Marcia? And you can also, if there is something that we can make that $2 million up with some of our CDs and some other things that we have.
Because that's very important.
We totally agree. We've been through it. But believe me, the reason why this budget's here is because a lot of us went through the storm in 2003, and if we didn't have what we had there then, we would have been in very big trouble. And I agree with Dan, the $3 million is what we need to have in there, and we're going to try to maintain that. We didn't use that all at once. We had the same fund balance built up at that time at the storm. Is that correct, Marcia? It was $2,600,000 at that point in time based on budget numbers. We depleted that because of that deal. And you got reimbursed FEMA, but it went back over the same period of time. It takes a while to do that. Now, I will say the 2% cost of living is for all city employees at this point in time. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other comments? All right. Any other questions or comments on the budget? I now consider this public hearing closed. We'll go on to B, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve Resolution 18-28, a resolution adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year 2018-19, ending June the 30th, 2019, maintaining certain special funds, filling the adopted budget with the intergovernmental budget agencies, and providing for transfer for funds. Dan, thanks again. It's a great budget, and really no offense. You are a great city manager. But when you have money that we've been collecting the size that we have, you really can't screw this one up. So I don't mean that bad, but I just want to tell you. All right. Yeah, made that clear.
Motion to approve it.
I got a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
I got a second. Roll call. Start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. All right, we'll move on to 11. To conduct a public hearing in consideration request by Jim Murphy on behalf of Betty Heinrich to amend the zoning classification approximately 148 acres on the west side of South Evans Road, south of Elm Street, within the northwest quarter, Northeast 4, Section 13, Township 12, North Range 7, Canadian County, from rural agriculture A1 to moderate industrial I2. I now consider this public hearing open. I'll tell you what, Jim, before you get up here, Dustin, why don't you come up real quick? All right, Dustin, this is brought before the Planning Commission, is that correct?
Correct.
And what we have up here right now is the Heinrich rezoning proposed?
Correct.
Right there in the middle, that is where the railroad tracks is.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Planning Commission voted to pass it, is that correct? I mean, to deny it, I'm sorry. to deny
Correct.
it. Okay. And anything else you want to say to this?
I've had multiple discussions with people on both sides on this. The largest complaint that was brought up by the Planning Commission when they came up to it is access. With that street being the way that it is on the north side of, this would be the furthest north of anything of development of any scale or scope on Evans Road, largely because of the access and the lack of the railroad crossing there.
Good enough. Thank you. Mr. Murphy, basically, you're presenting this today for rezone, is that correct? That's correct. And Ms. Heinrich wants this because she wants to get the best and highest use.
Highest and best use.
Highest best use for her property.
Highest marketable value on the property.
Okay.
We feel like that it coincides with the other development of the Radio Road interchange.
Okay.
And it would allow us to get the highest and best use or value for the property.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Good.
All right. Anybody else for the property? All right. I'd like to hear from against.
My name is Mary Culver. I live at 2100 South Evans Road. My husband Joe and I purchased the land and built our home over 20 years ago. At that time, we were surrounded by waving wheat and grass fields. We boasted of the best sunrises and sunsets in Oklahoma. First, our neighborhood was hit with a tornado in May, and we were forced to go north to even get out of the area because of all the debris along Evans Road. We loved our place, but without any notice to us in the area, Reno then chose to close the road north of us at the railroad tracks. That's caused so much grief in the area due to having to go around the mile section to get anywhere. And we have to go. We're forced to face the heavy truck and the other traffic from the Votech on Evans Road to get out of our area. Then, as you know, the sand plant was built on the east side of Evans Road across from our property a couple of years ago. And there went the beautiful sunrise. Don't know if any of you are aware of probably 200-plus trucks a day going in and out of the sand plant in a 24-hour period, 7 days a week. The noise of the engines pushing them in and out or hauling them in and out. The place is so bright with their lights, you would think I left my lights on all night long. We can no longer open doors or windows. The dirt continues to blow, even though the construction's over, mainly because Centurion has not paved their area or landscaped at all, as they were told to do. Truckers love stirring up the dirt when they get on that gravel road there. The truck drivers are not supposed to park along Evans Road, but that's impossible, as Halliburton doesn't allow them to park for paperwork after loading sand on their property. When I have to go around those parked trucks, I pray that someone isn't there to hit me. Another truck you can't see coming out. I don't know how trucks or any other industrial traffic can get to the property south of the railroad tracks on the proposed industrial area, as the law states there. No trucks are to go north of the wall on Evans Road at that entrance of Halliburton. The paved road we were supposed to get in front of our homes is blacktop, approximately 1 lane wide. We had to continue pouring Roundup on it last year to keep the weeds from growing under it and out of it. The proposed property Betty Heinrich wants rezoned is right west and north of my backyard. I don't appreciate being crammed in from all directions with only one way out and so much industry. I do hope you will really consider this rezoning, especially south of the railroad tracks, as my septic and laterals are in a field west of my house in the proposed rezone area. I don't want my septic system to be destroyed or replaced, as I recently spent $2,000 on it. I also worry about ground contamination. Our water wells are only 60 to 100 foot deep. I have a well very close to the back fence that I use. My property line goes north through half of the driveway of the house north of mine. We purchased our property from Wilroy Heinrich. He had a love for the farmland, and I feel if alive today, he would not allow any amount of money to destroy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Culver.
Ken Balson, 2106 South Evans Road, El Reno, Oklahoma, 73036. We oppose any rezoning of the land in question. As Mary stated, we don't need any more traffic on South Evans Road. There are in excess of 100 to 200 trucks 24 hours a day. Add on to that, there's 3 shifts of employees that use that road. We have the VOTEC school, we have Centurion that operates on the road. We have another oil company that's occupied the land at the intersection of South Evans Road and Highway 66. For another reason, we do not need any additional traffic on Highway 66. Traffic is increased exponentially. Anybody that's been on 66 traveling between Highway 81 and Banner Road knows what traffic backs up there with the traffic from the stockyards. It's a lot of fun traveling on 66 and have a truck pull out in front of you doing 20 miles an hour, doing 20 miles an hour for 3-4 miles. We also have additional traffic. The VOTEC school is making quite a bit of use of your fire truck turnaround area that you put in there. They take their breaks down there. We have a lot of traffic down that road because of that. The road is 15 foot wide. If anything goes in there, you're going to have traffic on there. It's going to have to be widened to minimum standards of the city. The city has sight, sound, and barrier restrictions. They will do no good in our area. We sit at the highest elevation. We'd be looking down at whatever is going on there. Am I boring you, Mr. Mayor? I hope not.
No, no.
We look down on the area, so anything that goes on in there, anything we see, smell, and hear, anything, activity that goes on in that. We're concerned about enforcement by the city of any zoning ordinances that would be passed, any restrictions that would be placed. And in 2015, when Centurion was granted their rezoning request, they were required to fulfill landscape requirements of the city. They have not done so. I contact the the code enforcement officer 3 times a year to get after Centurion to mow their weeds down, and they've been reminded that they have not complied with their landscaping requirements. The property to the west of our property is up for sale, and that will probably be requested for rezoning. When that is rezoned, or when it goes for rezone, we will be surrounded on all 4 sides by industrial property. We did not move out there to be surrounded by industrial property. We've been there for 38 years. We've been through a tornado. Selling is not an option for us. The depressed property value on the residential area cannot be made up. The only person or the only entity in the city that values the county that values the true value of our home and what we have is the county assessor, as our property evaluation goes up every year. I've done a survey and looked at houses of our size with property, with the acreages and the buildings we have. The prices on the value that I have looked up is between $400,000 and $500,000. Nobody is going to pay $400,000 to $500,000 for that property surrounded by the industry that we have. I also request that you consider a moratorium on any more building on Highway 66 industrial-wise until the city and the county and the state does something to widen Highway 66. I don't know how many times I've pulled up to the stoplight at the intersection of Highway 66 and Evans Road and watched trucks pull through red lights. I was sitting behind a county deputy one day, and the light changed green for us, and a truck bore right through. The sheriff's deputy turned the opposite direction. He didn't go after that truck driver. There are other issues out there. It's you're going to make your decision, whatever it is. We don't want it. We don't need it. And I understand that you're wanting industrial growth, but the property in question does not butt up onto Radio Road. They're going to have to either come down Evans Road or they're going to have to go out Elm. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I want to kind of address some things. JT, you might help me a little. Oh, go ahead.
I'm
No.
Carolyn Wilson. I just want to reiterate that I know that they consider rezoning this as industrial as highest use, but it will destroy our value. Who's going to spend $500,000 for 5.5 acres? Nobody's going to want to go out there to live. Would you want to raise your kids surrounded by industry? And the industrial complex, they're not going to spend $500,000 for 5 acres. They're not going to be able to use the house and the outbuildings. And if you will stop and think about what % of your personal wealth is in your property, and then understand that, I mean, we're retired. We cannot make up that kind of loss. I mean, we're just, so you need to look at our side, please.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm sorry. Okay, a couple of points, and I understand it's emotional. It's always emotional when we get into these zoning issues. And it's our job to kind of figure out, basically like I think both sides wants to do, what we can do best to make everybody happy. We're not going to make everybody happy. We can't make everybody happy. It's just that and how it works. The bottom line is that there is some things, the Bolson's house, I understand where they're coming from, and they are right, as far as they got to live out there, everything else. But the house they bought that from, if I understand correct, that was Centurion's That was the industrial, that was the plant manager at that time, that was his house that they had. All that was zoned industrial out there years before. It was zoned, now hang on. Now, I'll let you talk, you let me talk. Matt, am I not right, the Centurion was out there very first on that Evans Road back in 1946, is that correct?
They weren't Centurion, but yeah,
It was that pipeline company that it was at that point in time, that area, 1946, that area was zoned industrial out there in that area. From that area back, all the way back to where Cactus, it did stop at your property where that goes that way. Everything, you are correct, everything around there is going industrial. And we've set up here over the years, and your numbers have come up here over the years, and argued, and we agreed with you, but we went forward because of the corridor of opening up on Radio Road. We have massive pieces of land that people, real estate people, want, and they want to be out here. And all the people that you used to come up here with, they're all coming up here now because they want to sell their land. And back behind, the Evans, everybody else at one point in time was upset about the road, about the zoning, but now slowly but surely they've got their land sold and they've moved on and they've done their deal. The problem is El Reno's growing, and the acreage that you have right here completes that whole loop back behind what we've done all the way to Radio Road. And it completes the whole process as far as it goes, as far as the industrial area. That is a new corridor. There's only a couple of properties in there. The ones up front, the houses, the two houses up there are set there, have also applied. There's been one of them applied for a zoning request is coming our way this next process. Is that correct, Matt? So that whole area out there, mile section, has been basically converted over into an industrial area, except for like 4 or 5 acres spot there, like 2 or 3 places, Lingo's, and now currently your 2 houses. So it's hard for us not to understand, like you said, all these trucks and the traffic and everything else going out to that area and growing that way. It's a natural development, and they want to do it based on the railroad area that they have, and the spur, I'm sure, to come to that area, it makes it feasible for them to do that. JT, you got anything to say? I mean,
Well, I think that I could address it in discussion.
Sure. Okay, I got you.
Go ahead and in here, I mean,
Yeah, okay. Any other comments based on what we haven't done, stated?
If that was zoned agriculture, why was it zoned farming whenever that was all farming, whenever the wall went up? And I have the agenda where they made it.
I said where Centurion is, where the tank is, that was.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
It was farming.
Okay.
They had to come before the planning commission to have it changed.
They were the people that never.
We know, I'm not going to argue with you, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe you're wrong. I do know that we looked it up in 1946, Centurion was out there, and they were operating, and I say Centurion, it was an oil pipeline company that got bought by Centurion Pipeline, and we tracked that back down. So it's been out there before all the development. The bottom line is everybody out there wants to do this. Everybody out there chose to sell the land, and now we have a couple of people. We didn't create this. The industry created this. Now, we do have certain areas that we can convert, and I think we'll talk about that in the other deal as far as, I know you're not happy with it, but we have came a long way on our zoning and some of the restrictions we had to put up, how they have to put things up to accomplish that. So any other comments on this? All right, now consider public hearing closed. Now we'll go into discussion. Discussion, consideration, possible action, ordinance number 9143, an ordinance amending the zoning classification for approximately 140 acres on the west side of Evans Road of East Elm Street within the northwest quarter, section 13, township 12, North Range, 7 Meridian, Canadian County, rural agriculture, A1, moderate industrial, I2, declare emergency. Before I do, I didn't recognize, I know that you all are not, but your mother's the property owner, and you all are in favor of this rezone. Is that correct? Okay. Just want to make sure. All right. JT, you got some comments? Comments are closed.
yeah, I have a couple comments, I guess. I think that we just need to, I want to reiterate what Matt said in that, it's not, the city doesn't have the ability to control the market. This is where where industrial's moving, and all we can do is try to write the best ordinances that we can write to protect interest of both property owners, of the industrial owners and the residential owners. And I'll reiterate, we've said this before in other meetings, that when we went through our industrial code, we have the most lenient code, as far as I know, in the state regarding residential homeowners' rights to use this property, rights whenever industrial comes near. And I have to, when you look at the Planning Commission's decision, that commission is probably 3 or 4 of those members are very new, and they whenever they made those decisions, they didn't follow precedent on decisions that we've made in the past. And the easiest thing to do is to write the code the best you can in the best interest of all parties, and follow that code and follow the precedent. So it's a terribly hard decision to make, and I think that there are, Mr. Balson, you mentioned more traffic on Evans Road, and I think that that's something that the city is definitely going to address, widening the road and making it more accessible. But that was also, we talked about in the budget that we haven't had enough enforcement officers, and that's been a problem in my industry, just in small residential construction. And so we're going to add to the budget there too, and try to improve enforcement. But it's just a hard thing to manage all this growth and do it fairly, and I think that the city is taking the best approach that they can.
And if they do come that way, we're gonna make sure that whatever development comes that way, they have to develop that land, the roadway on their expense, not on our expense.
Absolutely.
And we're not paying for that. I mean, just like we did with the other ones, we're not gonna pay for that. We didn't have that in the budget.
Yeah.
So, we did all that based on to make you all happy, to narrow that road, to keep all that down. If they come back there and do that deal, they're gonna have to do that deal. If they decide to open the road, they're gonna have to come with the expense through the UP to open up that railroad crossing or whatever else they do. So the bottom line is these aren't easy decisions, but you're talking about, like I said, several people have come up here now, they're selling their land, everybody wants to sell the land, and now we're down to the last couple too. We've made those decisions, made those restrictions, made those changes through the whole process. And it's hard for us to stop now because everything around there is going this direction, and you're right across the street from I-3, so.
And I think too, on the Halliburton deal with the I-3, that didn't trigger the sensitive border standard. This will trigger the sensitive border standard, and so they're going to have to be mindful of noise and lighting and dust and any of those things. That's just, and I know enforcement's been an issue, but we're adding enforcement, and we've added two field officers in the last year, and so we know that's an issue. It can't all be perfect, but we have to write the best code we can and try to enforce it the best way we can. And so basically this should walk, talk, and act like an I-1 property, and I don't think it's unreasonable at all to have an I-1 property off of a state highway.
I-2, you mean?
But it's going to act like an I-1.
Oh,
It's going to perform like an I-1 because there can't be too much nuisance next to you. So, and it's easy to say that you could have an I-1 there. So,
Tracy?
I agree, this is a very sensitive subject, and the thing that I see industry coming in, and I see the value of that, but I also see the value of homeowners and where your life is. I don't like that they don't have options. I remember back when Remington Park came in and all of that community were made offers to move and to buy their property and all that. I don't know where that falls. I don't know what, but for them to not feel like they have any options, is unfortunate. So is there something that can be done? So they have a choice to stay or to go if this is passed. The other thing is, and you mentioned, Mr. Balson, about widening Highway 66, and I travel that every day, and it is wretched. And back a few years ago, when we had a passing lane, and the passing lane has been taken out, something has to be done with Highway 66 because it's very, very dangerous, and it's busy. I don't know if you guys travel 66 every day, but it is really hard. So, which is going to increase problems in your area. So that's all I had to say. I don't know.
Thank you, Tracy. Okay, any other comments on the discussion item? Any other comments?
May I ask what declare emergency, the phrase declare an emergency on the means?
It just makes it, we do that on most items that have to be, still in the process of extinguishing. It helps with the process of basically for here in the 30 days, it declares it right in there, so once we take the action, it's down. I make a motion that we approve the rezone from Betty Heinrich from Agriculture 1 to I-2 and declare emergency.
I think you got to separate those.
You have to separate,
I'm sorry.
that's
I make
right.
a motion to declare I-2. I knew I had to do that. So I
Second.
backed up. I got a motion. I got a second. Roll call vote. Start with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn, Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder,
Abstain.
Mayor White.
Yes. Motion carries.
Make
All
a
right,
motion to declare an emergency.
I make a motion to declare emergency. I second. Roll call vote. Start with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn, Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder. Mayor White.
Yes. Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to B, discussion, consideration, action, ordinance 9143, an ordinance amending the zoning classification of property. Oh, no, I'm
No,
sorry.
you're on 12.
I'm sorry, 12.
12A.
Sorry, 12A. Public hearing, consideration, request by Joseph A. Babcock on behalf of 77 Land and Company for a conditional use permit for the planning, placement, operation, support buildings within the heavy industrial I-3 zoning district, subject to property and tract approximately 5 acres, located on the east side of South Radio Road, part of Southwest Quarter, Southwest 4, Section 24, Township 12 North, Range 7, west of the Indian Meridian, Canadian County, Oklahoma. Dustin, this is brought before the Planning Commission.
You need to open your public
I'm
hearing.
sorry, Roger. I now open my hearing to a public hearing. Dustin, I now consider public hearing open. We're here discussing the 77 CUP, current zoning is I-3. They want to allow operational support buildings, proposed buildings, complex of 150 residential units. They want to put these units in there, kind of a man camp type style, in order to
Essentially, yes.
support their staff. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Um,
This went before the Planning Commission, it passed, is that
Passed,
correct?
yes, passed unanimously with no additional conditions. They have proposed a couple of conditions, which I'm sure Mr. Bocock's going to talk about.
Okay.
One of the things that they have requested that's specific to this is that they've requested that their parking area in this be maintained as gravel rather than a sealed surface as required by code. It would be putting the 10 buildings right in there. There is a site plan on the next slide, Ally, that kind of shows what their intent is.
Okay, thank you, Dustin. Reverend Paul, or anybody? Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
Joe Bocock for 77 Energy. 77 Energy previously owned 77 Land. It was purchased by Patterson UTI. I say this only to point out that the people who are building this structure are very conscious of the community and of life safety issues. This is not something where someone's going to build it and you have to figure out whether it meets life safety codes. It's been built in Woodward, and you can go look at it. And it has special sprinkler systems and alarm systems in it because we don't want anything to happen to our employees. It employs 3 distinct benefits to this community. First, at an expense, we always hope it's less, of $170,000, we're going to bring rural water into this area. It has a fire line to it, but it doesn't have, it needs water to be industrially developed. This is a temporary use. This is a conditional permit. That's why I think gravel's okay to use it for. And at some point when it's gone, though, you know, we all may be sorry for that because it might say something about the oil field business, but it'll be an industrial use, a heavy I-3 industrial use. And now it has water, and it's enormously more likely to be developed. The second thing is that working with Loves, who's written a letter of recommendation we have agreed to let them hook up to this line. And they have all kinds of problems getting fresh water. They have water for the grass, but they have all kinds of problems with water. So they're going to be able to hook up this and save several $100,000. And in addition to that, oil field workers just love to pay sales tax at Love's. And they'll be right down the street, and Love's has written a specific letter of recommendation suggesting that that will increase sales tax. Finally, really, I think, inspired by the mayor, who said we don't want to lose any hotel tax, we have agreed to pay $1.25 per unit. That could be, if it was full, we hope it will be, $67,950 of additional revenue to the city every year. We recognize that this will have to be approved every 3 years, hopefully subject to life safety inspection, to make sure the city's happy with what's going on. Again, the gravel issue, we said, it's landscaped, by the way. It's done by J&A Architects. We have engineers. We have the engineer here, Mr. Musney, to answer any questions. And the gravel, of course, it doesn't, even if it were a sealed surface, it doesn't have a drainage problem. That was addressed at the Planning Commission. But of course, gravel always helps with any drainage issue. And then depending on what it is, it gives the user, after this temporary use is over, much greater flexibility in deciding how to design it, so it doesn't have to go break up a bunch of concrete that interferes with the potential use. So we hope it's okay to use gravel in this temporary application. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else against it? Anybody else for it? Anybody else against it? All right, now consider this public hearing closed. Go on to B, discussion, consideration, possible action, requesting a just pay Matt Bocock on behalf of 77 Land Company for a conditional use permit for the placement of optional company for a conditional use permit for the placement of optional support buildings within the heavy industrial I-3 zoning district. Subject property tract approximately 5 acres located at the east side, South Radio Road, part of Southwest Quarter, Southwest 4, Section 24, Township 12, North Range 7, West Indian Meridian, Canadian County, Oklahoma. I just got a couple comments. We did a man camp. We did it on our property because we wanted to control it. We have. It's been, I don't think I think we've done a good job with maintaining it. They've been good stewards up there. They're helping pay some of our lake costs and some of our other ones. It's not just that, but it's on our land and we can control it. This land that we're trying to develop and all this land that we've got for sale out there, it's for businesses. It's not for man camps. And I don't think El Reno needs to be known as a man camp community. And these people, if we allow them to do it, what's to stop Halliburton and everybody else from building hotels and putting stuff on their deal? You go to these hotels that we built, they're full of these oil field service workers and people in our community. They're providing, they got stickers on every side of them. When we did the man camp, we didn't have those hotels. We were short of hotels. Now we're building 2 more. There's one to be built right down the street from Mr. Bocock that we have in discussions right now, currently on the other side of Radio Road by 66. So, these people are creating jobs, long-term jobs, commitments to the city of El Reno, and in my opinion, we don't need another man camp. We need, in the city of El Reno, and the rural water doesn't bring any deal to us. And I want to make sure that everybody understands, Love's is coming regardless of this, no matter what. They're already here, and we've talked to them. They might have a letter of support, but it's not pending on them or anything else. That's kind of what was stated before. So, I just feel like that I understand we want to be good stewards. We want to be able to have people do business, and we absolutely want people to do business. We have partnerships with 77 Energy when it was Chesapeake before to help us get the interchange. We all paid a bunch of money, millions of dollars. I remember because I wrote the check for the city of El Reno. I signed it. Roger and I were up there at their office. So we have that deal. But in order for that property to become used as a man camp and let people to do that, that's just going backwards. We want people to invest in El Reno. We want people to invest in our community, whether it be hotels or buying a house here or living here. Now, we have a current man camp that has several contractors, several different companies that does that. I don't want to add on to that or do anymore else. And when they're gone, that use becomes an RV park for us, the city of El Reno, to add on. That has all the water and sewer and electricity already there. So That's just my opinion, but
Not to mention those funds are earmarked for lake improvement.
all those funds are earmarked for lake improvement.
Yeah.
Every bit of those are earmarked for lake improvement, so. All right, I make a motion that we deny.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Vote roll, start with JT.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn, Councilman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilman Ryder, Mayor White.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0.
4 to
Oh,
4 to 9.
Oh, yeah, 4-0? Oh, Tracy vote for it?
No, one missing.
Oh, Bob's not here, threw me off.
That's okay.
4-0 to deny. Motion's denied. All right, move on to 13. Conduct public hearing consideration request by Eric M. Delaney on behalf of the Integrity Industries, conditional use permit for the storage of petroleum products and compounding the package of chemicals within the heavy industrial I-3 zoning district, subject to property, Lot 1 for the Block 4 of Canadian Valley Industrial Park, Section 2, Canadian County, Oklahoma. Basically, I now consider this public hearing open. Is that correct? Did I do good there? All right. Basically, Dustin, get up here. This is zoned over here off of Evans or Jensen Road, right?
Correct.
Okay. And basically, this is explain the ordinance, what we have to do.
Okay, the conditional use permit is for a particular process that Mr. Delaney is going to explain here in a moment. The zoning is consistent. The specific chemicals require the specific chemicals and the outdoor storage requires the conditional use permit.
But basically, Matt, to help me back up, it's probably a little bit before Dustin got here, but didn't Weatherford right beside him basically have to do kind of the same process? They recently went through the same process. And basically, it's because of the oil field, because of the chemicals and everything else you have to do, our zones have to do that.
Right.
You have to be compliant with state rule laws, everything else, is that correct?
Yeah, EPA, OCC.
Right. And the first one we did, I think, was the one Weatherford, Matt, we went through that process. We did all check-ins. Tracy, I think you just became on the council at that point in time. The bottom line is, you have to go through the same process. The Planning Commission made you do the same process, is that correct? Dustin, then went over the same checkpoints. Matt, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was for explosives and.
Right. But the same process is what I'm trying to say.
The one thing that the council required in the conditional use permit process for Weatherford, I would recommend the council doing the same time, is having Integrity Industries forward inspection results from.
We did that here. The council did that, but the Planning Commission did that with you. So you need to make sure that every time there's an inspection report, that you have to provide with those agencies, state or federal agencies, that you have to know that when we do this condition, if we pass this, then you have to do the same thing to yours, okay?
We hire PE consulting firm to.
Sure. Like any other environmental firm or whatever else that does that. Okay. Any other questions? I now consider public hearing closed. Going to B, discussion, consideration, possible action request by Eric Delaney, on behalf of Integrity Industries, conditional use permit for the storage of petroleum products, compounding package of chemicals within the heavy industrial I-3 zoning, subject property Lot 1, Block 4, Canadian Valley Industrial Park, Section 2, Canadian County, Oklahoma. Make a motion we approve.
You want to stipulate the annual?
And to make sure that we do what the Planning Commission asked, what we want is to stipulate every kind of federal or state regulations you have to do based on your licensings or permits to carry. We want to make sure that our department gets copies of those, whether it be annually or biannually or whenever you have to apply. That makes sense?
Second.
Okay, it's in the minutes now, so it better. I got a motion, second, roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn, Vice Mayor Cronister,
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes. Okay. 14, discussion consideration possible action to accept final plat of West 6th Edition, Section 3, to the City Council of El Reno. Dustin, basically this is Mr. Small's great development. He's done a very good job. Looks good, Terry. You're about ready to start building some houses, aren't you? Okay. So everything's been done. Dustin, everything's checked off the list. Is that correct? It's been inspected by another inspector. Is that correct? Different than what the designer was. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. This planning commission, no problems. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, any questions?
Motion we approve.
I got a motion we approve?
Second.
I got a second by Ryder. She beat you, Timmy.
That's good.
Roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Councilman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn, Vice Mayor Cronister,
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes. Motion carried. Terry, get out there and start building some houses.
Okay, that's right now.
Tonight.
Tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Discussion, consideration, possible action to accept final plat of the greens on the Country Club addition to El Reno for the City Council of the City of El Reno. This is one of the partnerships I'm involved with, Dustin, so I will abstain, but I want to make sure I go through the same process. They have completed everything, is that correct?
Correct.
Every box has been checked. They have done everything, same process. Basically, it's been inspected by the second party different than their inspector, is that correct? Everything's been required and met to the City of El Reno standards, is that correct?
Lindsay has of today, we should have all the bonds, yes. So
Okay.
yes.
Everything's done. All right,
Motion we approve.
I got a motion, we approve.
Second.
Got a second? She didn't beat you that
I
time.
was waiting on her to beat
I was
me.
waiting on you.
I got a motion by Cronister, second by Robinson. Roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Abstain? Okay, we'll move on to Scott. Get out there, collect some money. Now. All right, discussion, 18, discussion consideration possible action to award project number F03 wastewater treatment plant, I'm sorry.
I
I
plant
think you're on
improvement.
16.
Well, yeah, you
You're on
skipped it.
16.
Well, I'm trying to
You're
get done.
excited, you're trying to make some money over there. so-
Okay. Discussion consideration possible action to approve ordinance number 9144, an ordinance amending section 361-16 Article 4, Chapter 3, 361 Code of Ordinances, City of El Reno, amending the parking and loading requirements within the City of El Reno, declare emergency. Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Do I have a second? Roll call vote start with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder? Mayor White?
Yes. Now we make I'll make a motion, we declare emergency.
Second.
Got a second by Robinson, he beat you. Start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. All right, 17, discussion consideration possible action to accept pricing for striping of various streets in the City of El Reno. Koba, where you at? You're sitting in the wrong spot tonight. The Chiefs are in the wrong spot. You guys are all in the wrong spot.
You have full house.
I know. Well, that's true. I got you. Jeff, we called action safety. We got to get Elm Street, 27th Street, some other ones striped. We're going to start that process. We're going to, and use internally, we're going to figure out our stripe machine that we bought, a smaller scale, but we're going to do the sidewalk stuff before school. Is that correct? But we're going to try to get everything striped as far as right around where 27th Street, where the pizza place is, all the striping's done there, and around Montana Mike's, Country Club, we've got a lot of them, is that right? So just get striped so people, we've had a lot of older people in the community that have a hard time seeing at night, they want it striped. So you got a price from action, and it's below the amount we want to go ahead and bring to council, is that correct? Okay, is that okay? And I figured you all, that's some of the complaints we've been hearing, so we're doing what they want us to do. Okay, Tracy's that a motion?
Yes.
I got a motion by Ryder to accept. Go ahead, and then to approve the striping plan.
We want to say the amount on there?
Is there an amount on there, Koba? I can't remember.
It's not on our,
I looked for it.
$33,464.
33,464. Okay. Now that's including, I'm sorry, now that is including Britton Road and Foreman Road when they get done paving, is that correct? Okay, because I certainly think that's pretty high, but they're going to put double stripes and everything on that one. Okay, all right, okay. All right,
Second.
got a motion and a second. Start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yeah, I'll abstain. All right, we'll move to 18, discussion consideration possible action award, project number F03 wastewater treatment improvements. CWSRF, project number ORF 13-0003 SWA, and have mayor sign documents associated to. This was in the authority, per authority.
Make a motion to
I got a motion for authority by Robinson, second by Cronister. Roll call, start with Ryder.
Yes. Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Number 19, discussion consideration possible action to complete project number 111, water and sanitary improvements on Radio Road, approve activate maintenance bond.
Motion to approve per authority.
Okay, motion approving authority.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Number 20, discussion consideration possible action to award project number 127, playground equipment, Lake El Reno. Have mayor sign all documents associated there too. The next couple items, 2021, basically, we want to do something. We had some bond money that we wanted to use. It's not in the budget or anything else. Is that right, Marcia? This is prior to, so it wouldn't be anything currently, so it still gives us the ability to do other things. This is other money we have in the other bond money. Basically, we set a budget, and we're below it, but I kind of got Ken and Chief Lagali and Cobe and I have been helping coordinate them a little bit, but we got a lot of improvements coming to the lake. We wanted to add on a nice big playground area to add on to that area so we could push some churches and some things out there to utilize that deal. We're going to redo this volleyball court. We're redoing the horseshoe pits. We're putting all new gravel based on you letting us have the county haul it. We'll buy the gravel based on some of this process so that we had the gravel that we have that we're going to utilize. And we're going to redo all the RV parking spots out there, clean all that up, have some new signs put out there that say "Welcome to Lake El Reno." That are the big boulders, Tracy. That's the bunch that was down here at Burger Day, Main Street, but they're big. Matt, how big are those? Each one?
They're 60 inches tall, 5 feet tall by 96 inches wide.
They'll last forever.
Yeah, they'll last forever. This is Welcome to Lake El Reno. So we're going to do some improvements out there, and so this is part of it. This playground equipment. And some other improvements. Oh, and we're going to get to the fishing piers. We're going to put a fishing pier and then a jet ski. I'm just going to not have to talk about it. And then we're going to do some cleaning out of the shoreline around the lake, starting at the pier. We're going to haul some sand into the beach area. Is that right? Did I miss anything?
Two fishing, we're redoing a fishing pier. You got 2 docks going in, you got a dog park going in, fixing the volleyball playground. You really regret them all.
Yeah, we're redoing all the. It's going to be a nice little improvement we're going to get started on. All right, so we wanted to bring this to you, though. Make sure you all know what we're doing.
Can we have this done before the 4th of July?
We're going to try to. You're laughing, but that's our absolute goal. That's our absolute goal.
And let's add one, if it's possible, maybe for the future as a walking trail?
Well, and we are. And to be honest with you, Tracy, we have plans. I saw someone said sidewalks before, but we are working on a sidewalk plan from Beechlers all the way to Walmart. But that's through the state deal that they pulled for this series a year. And then we've also applied for 2 walking grants, but they have not done them. They pulled them off. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was a few years back.
But we were going to apply for one this year. Is that right?
Right, tap money, yeah.
But the tap money they pulled back. Is that right? Help me out, Matt. You never help me out. I mean,
Yeah.
is that right or not?
That's right.
God almighty, he's killing me every time, Galloway. I mean, did we apply for the tap money for the sidewalks? We were going to.
Yeah.
That was our plan.
Who pulled it?
The state, ODOT, the state of Oklahoma. And that's because they're not near as good as legislators that we are up here. That's something we can help that way. But, so we are working that direction. There's several grants out there for sidewalk, Tracy. We'd rather use those grants, and we've got them in the past, than use money. But we're gonna have to at some point in time. And we are, I'm glad you brought that up. The ordinance that passes down the parking, did that do the sidewalks, Dustin? Or is that the one we're gonna bring back up next time?
There was some discussion on sidewalks in here, but that's just between parking area and the business.
But we're gonna bring it back up. I asked Dustin, anytime a new commercial comes, we don't have it in our ordinances. When you build a house, Terry Small has to require, all of his has to have sidewalks to his houses. So when you do commercial property, we're gonna bring it back to you next council meeting that they do their own sidewalks. Does that make sense? So we're requiring everybody to do sidewalks, so we can go forward with that. All right. Okay.
You have a motion to approve it?
Make a motion to approve? Second?
No, I think we're on number 20.
We're on 20.
Yeah.
To Noah's Park for 48.6.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you, Lindsay. You help us out, we don't mind.
Second.
Got a motion to Noah's Park for the amount. Second by Cronister. Roll call start with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn, Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder. Yes. Mayor White.
Yes. 21, discussion consideration possible action to approve project number 133 Fishing Pier at Lake El Reno and have the mayor sign all documents associated there.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Huh?
a motion, I move.
Okay.
Just,
Go ahead.
Sign all the documents.
Okay. What's the amount, Kenny?
up to 35,000.
No, you're not. He said 135,000.
35,000.
$35,000.
There's a quote from City Construction for 25,000, but we're approving up to 35,000.
Yes, right. Okay. Is that right? 'Cause that includes the pier too, is that correct?
This is taking care of all the decking that's starting to rot and everything. They're trying to get the prices for some coverings in areas so that fishermen will have shade.
Okay, so we're approving up to 35,000, and I second her motion.
Okay. All right. Okay. I have a motion to approve up to 35, second by Robinson, motion by Ryder. Roll call start with Ryder.
Yes. Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. 22, discussion, consideration, possible action, accept bid, Shorts Paving Mills, stabilize, overlay, section streets, parking within the city of El Reno city streets.
Motion we approve for authority?
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Abstain. 23, discussion and consideration possible action to award project number 144 sanitary sewer crossroads development. Have the mayor sign all documents associated therefore.
Make a
Motion approved for authority.
For authority by Cronister, second by Robinson. Roll call start with Ryder.
Yes. Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Okay, number 24, discussion area possible action to approve special event permit, Canadian County CASA, July 27th, 28th, 2018, at Lake El Reno for the possibility of 300-plus participants on public property for a barbecue contest fundraiser. Mr. Brown, myself and you and some other people, I think, who else is working? Lindsay, I think you have with her. She's been real nice. CASA's trying to put on a nice event. Is that right, Lindsay? I think you're taking after Sandage. You're not helping me much. You're here taking a nice event. We have a big barbecue deal, so it's going to be neat for CASA. They've been very helpful. I think they're within rounds are going to have at Lake El Reno. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, Lindsay, you can attend and get in a better mood. All right. I'll make a motion we approve.
And I'll second you.
I got it. Roll call vote start with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. 25, appointment of 3 positions to the Board of Trustees to Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group for a 3-year term commencing on July 1st, 2018.
There's actually only 2 appointments. I apologize.
2 instead of 3.
Okay, well then we'll take off Bart, we'll take off Mike. I want to leave Justin Battles. I know Justin. All right, I'd like to nominate Justin Battles. He's Assistant City Manager of Mustang. He's a good kid. And I'd like to nominate Craig Stevenson, City Manager of Ponca City. I don't know him, but I know Homer Nichols. So if you know him, good.
Second.
All right.
And Judge Hill
Got
second
a
you.
motion, a second by Cronister. Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Okay. Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. 26, discussion, consideration, possible action to proceed requests proposals for residential development on vacant Webster School site located in the Fair Edition. Matt,
Finally.
get up here. I'm real excited, and I'm sure you're going to show us your excitement and all your ability to help us out with this deal. But we finally got this deal at Webster going, don't we?
That's right.
We've met with a couple developers, Matt and myself have. We want to bring a proposal to you guys, but we want to put it out for RFPs. We're going to work through this process with Mr. Reinhardt. He's been aware of it. We're bringing Mr. Reinhardt involved in this, so it'll be basically the Reinhardt Law Firm and Matt and myself, and we're going to put this out for request for proposals to build houses down in the Fair Edition. You know, we can maybe get about probably 16 different lots. They're all going to have sidewalks, Tracy. Be new houses down there, be a nice new development where the old Webster School was.
Those will be built around that existing park.
And what we're going to do is we're going to ask for proposals, but we're going to put some standards in there, what they have to do, and what the lot sizes are, what the requirements are going to be. So we're kind of going to be developers, but we have some really good people already interested in it. We're going to put it out. You kind of bring it back to you, and we can pick which group we want to award the bid to basically allow them to build houses down there. And it could be based on time frame. They're going to build all 18 lots, or it could be over a period of time, or it could be different style, or whatever else. We've got a lot of ideas. Don't want to share them because we've talked to different developers, so I don't want to let one person know more than the other. But Mr. Sange and myself, and talking to Roger, we feel real confident that we're going to have some good information to bring back to you. and start a process that's been long in the making, Timmy, like you said. I know, Mr. Robinson, you've been very concerned about this, and you've asked me about it, and that's one thing I try to get done for you, because I know it's important to you and your area down there. It'll really bring that area up and bring, some nice houses to that area.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple, 2 or 3 years ago
Yeah.
when we tore that down about
I
it.
know, and I told you, then you kept on asking about it, so we're moving off High Center, we're getting going on.
Part of this growth
Mhm.
we looked 2 years ago, couldn't find anything with the growth. Now they're gonna.
Now they're beating down the door. It's funny how that works, isn't it, Chris? You're in that business, you understand that, don't you?
Yeah, so we hope to bring proposal next council meeting.
Good, Matt.
Thank you, Matt, thank you very much.
Jump
Glad
right
you're
in
doing
there.
well. I mean, I just love when you come up here and give those wise words and wise wisdom. Go sit back there by the chiefs. Don't even go back over by Ryan. Thanks, Matt. We are excited. I don't care what Matt says, we are. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, you allow us to go ahead and go out with proposals, bring it back to you. Have a
Yes,
motion?
that's a motion.
Motion by Timmy, you're happy about doing that, Ryder, your second. Start roll call with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn, Councilman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder,
Yes.
Mayor White.
Oh, yeah. 27, Marcia? We're-
I would just like to say that with our sales tax up, I'm looking forward to rolling into the next year, and I appreciate you approving the budget, because I think it's been a pretty good budget to cover our needs, better than what I had, and then it's distributed the way that we need to start out with.
Good.
Well, and I want to say this, and not just because we want to make this big love fest, but I think this is always a time, especially like I said, when things are up, it's easy to have a love fest.
Yeah.
When it's down, it's not. But Dan's been kind of transitioning out, but we've really depended on Dan. He's helped me. I've learned so much from Dan. I know he feels confident in me to do it until we find somebody. But I feel we both feel confident with the staff, and it's kind of one of those things we couldn't do without the staff. And what's so nice, and I want to kind of give you an update of how we've been working everything. We have meetings, Kobe, every Thursday. Jeff, Matt, the 2 chiefs, of course, the finance department, everybody's in there. We kind of go over everything together. We've been doing that every Thursday at 2 o'clock, just so we go over everything, so we know what information's doing. So everybody knows what's going down the pipe, Tracy, from it's being, some of the calls that the chief's having to what development's going. It's really helped all of us out, don't you think, Jeff? I mean, and I think through this budget process that Dan laid out and kind of gave us the guidelines of what we're going to do, we really have probably one of the better plans we ever had. This is probably the fastest I've ever seen us adopt a budget in my tenure, and I've been up here a long time doing this, not near as long as he has, but doing this, don't you think, getting it done? And it's because of Dan laid it out great, and Marcia, and everybody else has done it good. So everybody's it's teamwork, and Tracy gave us some good compliments. Main Street did a great job, but I tell you, Main Street did such a good job, but we had everything ready for them this year, and we were right on top of it. And the Public Works, I mean, they killed it. So, yeah, and I forgot Lindsay. Lindsay keeps me straight on these meetings and keeps everything rolling. And I tell you, it's just such a partnership with doing this, and you're comfortable with it, Lindsay, because you're kind of the one that orchestrates everything. Do you feel better about having these meetings and going over? It's a lot better deal, don't you think? So, even when you find somebody, I hope we continue that, because it's really been helpful in the budget process. All right. JT, you got anything?
No, sir.
Tracy, you got anything?
I do.
Oh, hang on, I can't imagine that. You're like Matt Sandage.
And hats off to the city for completing the project of the fountain, which was a huge success this weekend with Burger Day. People were swimming in that thing, all day long. So very, very good. Thank you. I would like to know an update on the grant that was written regarding the school zone request.
Okay. I'm going to answer that as quickly as I can. They, I went to the meeting on that topic to figure out what it was that we were going to need to do. And this money had originally, the time frame for opening it up and started back in, or was supposed to start in January, and they pushed it to June, and they said, well, we're going to have this meeting for the safe routes to school so that we can set it up for June, and they pushed it to next January. sure that, you know, for instance, the one that you mentioned a couple of weeks ago is it's difficult to tell where the school zone begins and ends coming into downtown on Highway 81, among other places. We're going to make that list, make a prioritization of that list so that as soon as money becomes available, we can just turn around and say, this is what we want, these are the studies we've done, and this is how we're going to go about it.
Okay, I gotta apologize. Lindsay and Matt and Marcia and everybody else is in that meeting. Dustin's not in that meeting on Thursday. And Dustin, I might have to have you come to that meeting Thursday. We have some money that Mr. Brown and I have been working on for the last 2 months. We have a plan together. We've already ordered them. They're gonna be delivered when, Ken? We got these new radar signs. Sorry, Dustin, but you were talking and you can't shut you up when you start talking. We've got these new signs ordered that have radar. Don't thank both of us now. Just don't throw all the love to Ken. But the radar sign, I know. No, he doesn't. Yeah, but we found these ones, and Ken's done a good job doing research. We got the ones that have the speed limit sign with the radar built in there, and they're solar. So we're gonna put them at the locations on Country Club to stop him from going out there and writing tickets, because he is killing me, you know? I mean, he's killing me. We got to slow traffic down a little bit, but I'm just tired of those cops writing tickets out there.
That's right.
We got some going on 27th Street where the fire station is. We have another set going on Rock Island Street right there. So that's the first series of 3 that we went ahead and did. And I had money in the bond money, so we went ahead and decided to do that. And then Mr. Cobb and I talked while we were doing that. Our goal is to stripe all of the striping before the beginning of school, by schools and all routes to schools. So we're on top of it. Dustin, you do a terrible job by staying in touch with us. We love you anyway. Is that right, Ken? You need to talk to Dustin more. Keep him in the loop.
That'll make,
I know. Yeah, that's right. Thank your boss, Matt. Dustin.
that will make the city smile.
Okay.
And the parents. Okay, one other thing, and then I'll be finished. I noticed at Burger Day, there were some animals that were brought, which, okay, but there's not, I would like to have something that's in the parks and downtown that's a receptacle and bags that people can clean up after their animals, because there's nothing.
Well, Tracy, once again, we're glad that you're behind the 8 ball and you don't, we're 4 steps ahead of you. Now, I'll stop picking on us, we're picking on you. Mr. Legale and I are more familiar now with poo stations. Is that what we call them? I believe that's what they were. And I think in the meeting, Marcia, I said poo station about 25 times. I had Marcia tickling in her pants. She was laughing so hard because she wanted to hear me say poo station. We're going to have some poo stations put at the RV park. We're going to have some poo stations put at the dog park. And we're going to try those to see exactly what they kind of do. We're going to try to push people to have certain areas. Downtown area would be a good place to put one. We can probably work on that and get that taken care of too. And I'll get you the information on poo station if you want. Okay. Now, hang on, Jack. All right, anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Timmy? No, I'm good. All right. Okay. Main Street did a great job. They did a great job. Proud of them. City staff did a good job. We got the parking lot done downtown for them. The Potts, Matt, and the girls did that great job on that. City staff did a great job. Jeff, Chris, and those guys putting those signs up. If you notice, all the banners are up. We got some of them because of this Oklahoma wind are blown up, but it's great. Like Tracy said, the water park downtown, it cracked me up. I can't think of who it was, Dustin. I think it was Jerry, or it was somebody. Chris Smith was there with me. But we went downtown to see where those kids use it, like Tracy said. And Ray, there were footprints on the wall. Those kids have got, they're going to have more fun down there, and power to them. That's great. Real proud of the Route 66 sign. If you haven't seen it, it's going to be, I want you to watch that all summer long. I had the idea. Roger and I found this, we found the guy, Hugh Mead, Matt, we all kind of worked on that deal. Roger and I took him around to look at different sites, and that was the best site of all. And Roger, I think we picked the best site, don't you?
I think so.
And what a neat little deal that Route 66 sign is going to be to it. Once again, can't brag anymore on the Public Works Department or the fire police or the ladies up here. The staff has been wonderful. We never have been moving this fast, this quick, making decisions than we ever have. So hats off to you guys. It's just really been a real good working relationship. So anything else? Dan, you got anything?
Other than thanks again, it's been a lot of fun. And on the budget, those two ladies over there, Marcia and Karen, it's unbelievable what they do. You know, all I have to, you know, we can throw numbers at them, the whole staff's been helpful, but they've got to put them in all the little boxes and make it fit.
They try to argue with what boxes they go
We
to.
keep changing it.
Yeah.
Do it again.
And they get mad where you, with the one box and this box and then,
But they do a great job.
do a great job. Thank you all. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Jack, I was trying to get our deal done. Yeah, Jack, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you, we've got an issue with people bringing animals on the college, and we've been looking at poo stations, so would you share what you're doing?
Legali's a poo king. Yeah, we can tell where to buy them, get them, what bag size are.
Bags cost to go in there.
Yeah. Make a motion for adjourn. Robinson? Yes. Second?
Second, yeah.
I got a second by Ryder with a nod. All in favor say aye. We're adjourned.